It's August 2018, and I'm standing by an apartment pool around the corner from the intersection of Riverside and Pleasant Valley in southeast Austin. In some ways, the scene is what you'd expect of people trying to beat the summer heat and enjoy their afternoon. There are children playing, young people chatting, and parents relaxing. If you were to sit here a while, though, it wouldn't take long to realize this wasn't your average pool party.
Gentrification is class war, and you better believe the working class is fighting. We're done with waiting for meetings where rich people tell us how it's gonna be, because we're saying right now, no domain on Riverside. People power is how we fight, no domain on Riverside. People power is how we fight, no domain on Riverside. People power is how we fight, no domain on Riverside.
This event was hosted by Defend Our Hoods, celebrating the release of our new community journal. The publication features poems, art, and stories around the subject of gentrification from the perspective of those who have been on the receiving end. This collective testimony of pain and hardship is a side of our work that often goes ignored by our critics. They decry the militancy of our tactics, dismissing the lives of the people our tactics seek to protect. This podcast will no longer afford anyone that excuse. Over the next year, we invite you to join us as we organize the people of Riverside to defend themselves against a new wave of gentrification pushed by rich developers, city bureaucrats, and gentrifiers. Each episode, you will hear the real voices of those taking up the fight, those who are daring to struggle for a better life and a better Austin. You are listening to Riverside Rising. It's April 2018. We are at a meeting called by Michael Whelan, the lawyer of the prospective developers of Ballpark and Town Lake Apartments off of East Riverside in Austin, Texas. He has brought homeowners from the area to share the developers' plans to tear down current affordable housing in the area for building an elite paradise of swank shops and luxury condos. Before Whelan can start, a chant arises from the crowd.
Austin's not just for the rich, we won't move another inch. Austin's not just for the rich, we won't move another inch. Austin's not just for the rich.
The meeting had intended to leave questions into the end, but the chanting quickly turned into attendees yelling at the people, threatening their livelihoods.
Let's go straight to some questions. What are you going to do about all the people who are low income and have been living there in these apartments for a long time that you're taking over? Let's just start there. What are you trying to do?
Yeah, you're going to put in some fake affordable housing?
I want to hear what his plan is, because I don't see a way out.
What if I want to hear what you have to say?
Sit down.
What if I want to hear what you have to say?
Shut up! That's what an open forum is for!
She's talking. She has a question. Sit down. Is this not all what
We're trying to hear it.
And you guys also want to know.
All we want to know is what's going on. And you're not allowing us to find out.
You know what's going on. You know what's going on. We lived in the city our whole lives. We know what's going on. We see a million vampires like this before.
You want to know what's going on? Look at Rainy Street. Look at Rainy Street. Look at Chief Chavez. That's what's going on.
Answer the question.
Answer the question. Answer the question. Answer the question.
Do you know how much minimum wage is in Texas off the top of your head?
I do not. No.
Okay.
After an hour of this back and forth, Whelan decides to take the heat off himself by revealing that some of the developers for the project were present. It did not take long for the crowd to turn on them. As the developers scrambled out of the building with their tails tucked between their legs, they must have realized that this rezoning case was not going to be as easy as they thought. Rezoning cases where developers ask for the city's permission to build taller and denser projects are by no means a guarantee. Applications are vetted by city staff, city commissions, and city council before they are approved. Typically, those opposed to the project wait until the commission hearings to raise their concerns. Defend Our Hoods decided not to wait and instead stormed the offices where case manager Scott Granham was working. We confronted him about his complicity and pushing the application forward.
I'm just going to be completely frank with you all. I haven't had a chance to get into this zoning case very much. It's not something that I've delved into.
You're open to catering to these billionaires or to these new developers, but you're not fully understanding why we're here. We don't really care that there's going to be another meeting, because that meeting's not going to happen.
The thing is that you're all clearly wanting to be involved in this, and there is a way to be involved.
Well, we want to stay in our homes. That is why we're here.
Yeah,
we don't want to just be involved.
I recognize that, and folks don't go into planning without the intention of wanting to make better communities.
They want to make a richer community. Yeah. They want to push all of us out and make a community for people who will spend more money in this massive 16-story apartment over retail playground for the rich, where all of these people currently live. Where are we going to go?
Recommend. What you're thinking in your mind is like, I can't wait till these guys shut up and I can get them out of their house and I can approve this rich people bullshit.
No.
Like, here's the thing: no matter what happens, you have a choice. Like, you can either be like, oh, okay, shit, I don't want 4,000 poor people to lose their homes, or you can go side with the rich. And it's not like some dynamic, complex issue that like we don't understand. No, like we understand. If you don't recommend this, it's more likely that we can stay in our homes. And you understand that if you recommend this, rich people are going to come build a playground for themselves and kick 4,000 people out.
Historically, the city has encouraged rapid redevelopment to accommodate new employees who come to work at large tech firms like Oracle in South Austin. The Riverside area has been sanctioned by the city for such purpose, incentivizing developers with waivers of certain building restrictions. Presidium developers who currently own Ballpark and Town Lake have put in their bid for the city's support, but they haven't stopped there. The same parasites behind the new domain on Riverside have created an arts district also on Riverside to win over local artists and to aid them in their gentrification agenda. Presidium, who will be acting as the landlord of this so-called arts district, is offering discounted rates to rent their properties on Riverside to qualified art galleries and music venues. In this way, they hope to win the lobbying support of artists while simultaneously raising their property values and setting the precedent for the luxury playground they want to build on the ruins of Ballpark and Town Lake. Recently, a musician who had played the Community Journal release invited Defend Our Hoods to crash their set at one of the art district venues. Come and take it.
So basically, this was an action that took place on Saturday night at the Come and Take It Live bar here on Riverside in Austin. Defend Our Hoods was invited to say some words on gentrification by an artist named Alice Alco. And he let us have that space, even though it definitely burned a bridge for him. So mad props to him. So about 4 of us were able to make it out there. I was the one who was going to be talking. So we meet at the venue an hour before. You know, we have a plan. We have a signal for when I go up on stage. And we have flyers to pass out to the audience. So when the time comes, his set is closing. He's on his last song. He invites me up on stage. I'll try and say it like I did. Floating in uncertainty. You see the world around you shifting, lightening. While you live in the dark, the toxic, the dangerous, this is the space you fit. They dare us to get out of it. We build our homes on broken roads and gunshot shells, but once we have something resembling a home, they have big pockets and we're too broke. They take our homes and they take our souls. They take our culture and charge us triple for it back. They use their police to beat into civility that we seem to lack. Blue or red, they don't give a fuck. All the same party looking for a buck. Take my blood and call it oil. Take your suits running high. Ignore the realities of your genocide, because we won't. Violence for violence. Take what you can, because we'll take it back with the fury and rage of a revolution cage. We are no longer floating. We are ready for attack. And by the time I got to the point where, I was announcing a boycott, and I was like, including Come and Take It Live. The mic got cut. The audience got very angry, started yelling at me. I went ahead, I grabbed the microphone to the left of the stage, and I handed it off to a comrade so we could start chanting and marching throughout the bar. And basically the chant we also made up on the day of was artists for the people, artists for the masses. We're not going anywhere, so you can kiss our asses. The bouncers were basically pushing us out of the bar as we were trying to move throughout it. So we basically exit the bar. We're trying to talk to the people on the outside of the bar. They're also kind of not really having it. It's no surprise that they weren't having it because, Come and Take It Live, and along with a lot of the people who tend to the venue, are basically the gentrifiers coming in to Austin. And, gentrifiers really don't like it when you tell them that, they might be doing something wrong. So we got a bit of negative responses. And although a little part of me was always like, people don't like me, I need to always be liked. The reality is, that's the fact of the situation. You're not going to win anything if you're always trying to be on people's good side. And we're not trying to be on these gentrifiers' good side. We're going to, come to their faces, come to their places, and come to their spaces, that they're trying to take from us. It was a bit of an experience. I luckily didn't get my ass kicked, but it's always great to look forward to more things where you make white people uncomfortable.
The leadership shown by Defend Our Hoods has inspired tenants of Ballpark to take matters into their own hands. On Ballpark's Big Move-In Day, a group of tenants and their supporters intercepted the tyrant of Ballpark, aka General Manager Logan Stansell. Logan has earned the collective resentment of the community residents due to his abusive treatment of the tenants, his eagerness to call the police, and his negligence in maintaining living conditions for Ballpark tenants. The protesters read a list of demands made by the tenants. They called for Logan to be fired immediately and for the developers to withdraw the rezoning application.
Listen to our demands, Logan.
Number 1, stop the predatory practice of towing guest vehicles when the parking lot isn't at capacity. We know you're partnering with J&J Towing, and we know that you can renew the contract. Instead, you let them sit in the lot and tow anyone who doesn't know exactly where they're supposed to park. This puts a horrible burden on the tenants and their guests. People don't feel like they can even have guests. 2, stop calling the police on tenants and their guests for organizing, obviously like he's doing right now, to keep low-income housing in the Riverside area. That also means no more banning tenants' guests from any of the Ballpark or Town Lake apartment properties. 3, Logan Stansell must be fired immediately from his management position at the Ballpark West, East, and South properties. And 4, cancel the rezoning application for the Ballpark and Town Lake apartment properties. We do not want a domain on Riverside. We do not want student and low-income housing to turn into just some fucking yuppie playground. We need a place to live, Logan, and you're the one helping them.
Defend Our Hoods and the tenants of Ballpark and Town Lake are fighting back. It's a fight that the developers, the city, and the gentrifiers started, but it's a fight that the revolutionaries and the people will finish. This podcast will bring you front seat coverage addressing this ongoing fight from the perspective of the people. Every episode will bring you closer to real East Austin residents and comrades who refuse to roll over for gentrification, who believe people deserve the right to maintain their homes and access to affordable housing in a city that continues to further displace us. You are listening to the story of a revolution in Austin, Texas, and it's just beginning. To purchase a community journal, please shoot us an email at defendourhoods@gmail.com.
This is a photo of my abuelita Pauline and abuelito Norberto under the pecan tree in their backyard on West Johanna Street. West Johanna Street and the area surrounding it is in what is now known as SoCo and Travis Heights. Just as we have witnessed the gentrification of East Austin in the last several years, the area around South Congress and South First were also victims to this, starting some 20 years ago. Prior to that, this area was primarily inhabited by Mexican-American families, many of whom, like mine, have lineage in Central Texas that predates Texas independence. After my abuelita passed away in the early 90s, the house was left to my father. Several years of struggling to pay rising property taxes due to an influx of wealthy transplants forced the sale of the house. For years after, we would drive by to check on nuestra casita azul con el rosal enfrente. I would dream about growing up, buying it back, and reclaiming what was ours, because this neighborhood is ours. I still hold on to that dream. It is why I refuse to leave Austin, and why I stand behind all of those fighting for their livelihood today, just as my family did years ago.